Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for our presentation and our upcoming trip, Brilliant Bordeaux. My name is Wolniakowski. I am a wine educator and the owner of Cuvée Wine Travel. I'm here today with three really incredible colleagues. Each one of us actually owns our own company, but we realized that we also each have a certain expertise that really complements one another. So we decided to put our knowledge together, our experience together, and create a truly one-of-a-kind trip for all of you. And we're really thrilled to be here today to tell you a little bit about it. So I'd like for each one of my colleagues to go ahead and introduce themselves, starting with Kira, please.
Hi, everybody. My name is Kira Gartner. I live in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I have been a travel advisor for more than 15 years. And my specialties include both European travel, and river cruising. So I'm coming really from the river cruising point of view for this group.
Wonderful. Thanks,
All
Kira.
right. Yeah.
Kim, would you like to go next?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Kim Paquette. I am coming to you from the Tampa Bay area in Florida with Sunset Palms Travel and the Travel Queen. I basically am I would say I would definitely qualify as a cruise specialist, primarily groups, but definitely 100% cruising is my business. Thanks.
Great. Thanks, Kim. And Nicole, would you like to go next?
Yes, hi, I'm Nicole LeBlanc. I own Voyage Travel. I'm based in Dallas, Texas, and my specialty is arts and culture travel. So my trips tend to be a little bit more land-based, focusing on art, history, culture, gastronomy, music, the performing arts, sort of that general idea. And river cruising is a great partner scheme for me because you're basically on a floating boutique hotel and you have all the similar experiences of a land trip because you are right there in the destination. And I also just want to mention our other colleague, Nadine. She is with Smooth as Silk Travel. She is not able to be with us today, but we welcome any of her clients who may be watching, and we look forward to being together with you in France.
Great. Thanks, Nicole. Well, we are thrilled to present Brilliant Bordeaux. This is a 7-night, all-inclusive luxury river cruise with Uniworld Cruises. In addition to the river cruise, we are offering an optional 4-night pre-cruise trip to the Loire Valley, as well as an optional post-cruise 3-night trip staying in Bordeaux wine country. I wanted to start this presentation with this gorgeous photo of Place de la Bourse. This is located in Bordeaux City, and what makes it so spectacular is this incredible mirror of water. It's actually the world's largest reflecting pool, and it's located right along the river bank, not too far from where we will be docked in our beautiful river ship. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Kim, who's going to tell us a little bit about our gorgeous ship, SS Bon Voyage.
Yes, okay, so a little bit about Uniworld itself, or actually, if any of you are at all remotely familiar with PBS, I'm sure you are familiar with river cruising. So Uniworld is actually a luxury river cruise, a family business with a philosophy of integrating totally into a culture. They've actually design their ship so that you're going to feel like you are sailing on a French boutique hotel with beautiful fabrics, original artwork all through the ship. It's a very small ship. It's well, you can see 124 maximum passengers, and they are famous for their great service, their ratio between passengers and staff. And by the time the by these pictures here, you can definitely see the elegance of the ship. You can see the beauty throughout. They have terrific culinary experiences, custom-made beds that are incredibly, incredibly comfortable. There is not a single thing that has been overlooked with Uniworld Cruises. Thanks.
This is a overview of the itinerary for the river cruise part of the trip. We will be going over each one of these stops briefly. It's part of this presentation. If you are interested in more information, by the way, about any of these stops, we have another presentation that we can send you that goes into a lot more detail about it. But here we're just going to kind of stop and talk about each of these briefly. So here's an overview of the cruise, of the river cruise. We are located here in the Bordeaux region in southwest France. You can see that the entire river cruise is very close to the Atlantic Ocean. In fact, I think that the farthest we get away from the Atlantic Ocean is about 60 miles. So you're definitely in an area that combines both the land and then the flavor of the ocean as well. We're also quite close to Spain in this region, and we'll be sailing on 3 different rivers, the Garonne, the Dordogne, and the Gironde. So you'll be in one ship, 7 days and 3 different rivers. So we will be embarking on the ship in the city of Bordeaux, which we've touched on and we'll touch on more in a little bit later. And on the first day, you'll embark in the afternoon. And then once everybody is on board, we will be gathering as our own private group on the sun deck so that we can all meet one another and have an informal welcome. So that's what you can look forward to on the first day. On the second day, we sail down to the town of Cadillac, which is along the Garonne River. It is actually the farthest that we will get down the Garonne River. One of the things that I should have mentioned is that all of these rivers, because we are so close to the ocean, they are all tidal. So sometimes some of the stops can be altered a little bit depending on how the tides are running. But in any case, you have 2 really amazing included excursions to choose from that day. One focused on art when you're visiting the Chateau de Mérimée, which is where Toulouse, the famous 19th century artist Henri Toulouse-Lautrec was his mother's chateau. And so you'll be delving into his art. And then the other option is one that's a little bit more focused on history. You'll be visiting the Chateau de Royal de Cazeneuve, which was the residence of Henry IV of France in the 16th century. And it is still owned by the same family since then. So you'll get a private tour of the chateau with the owners, ending with a Sauterne toast. And then that evening, on the first full day of the cruise, there will be a special captain's welcome reception and dinner on the ship. On to day 3. Go ahead, Carol.
So day 3 is all about the Médoc. This is the left bank of Bordeaux, which is actually the left bank of the river. And this is where the most famous wine chateaux are located. I mean, we're talking the most iconic wine estates in the entire world. So this is a really wonderful opportunity for those of you who love wine to really get an in-depth look into the wine industry in Bordeaux, as well as some of the history behind it. So we have 2 really great choices today. One is a lovely bike ride through the vineyards, where we'll get to get up close and personal with some of these chateaux. Or you can choose to take a drive on the Route de Vin. And here we will also get to see a lot of the beautiful chateau from the road, but also learn a little bit more about the history and some of those stories that have been passed down for generations. So no matter if you choose the bike ride or the drive, we will, of course, have an opportunity to get a private tour at one of the Grand Cru estates, as well as a private tasting. So this is a really nice opportunity where, you know, it's just for people who are on the cruise to get that personalized attention from the wine estate and really, you know, learn the in-depth workings of the Bordeaux wine industry.
And Carol, also that day, we have the Médoc oyster tasting. As Kira was mentioning, we are right there near the ocean. So you have that brackish water, which is where oysters thrive. So this is a very important region for French oysters.
I think that's really going to be interesting to see because we get to meet with an oyster farmer and learn all about the process. And then, of course, we get to taste it with a little bit of wine. So yeah, it'll be really fun. The next day is a really fantastic day for those of us who love art and history. So we have two really great choices of included excursions today. The first one is an opportunity to meet with a couple who are local artists. And we'll get a chance to go to their studio and to their home. They, open the doors for us, and we get a really kind of insider look on, what life is like as an artist in France. The other option on this day is to get a tour of the Bly Fortress, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And from what I understand is just an incredible architectural marvel. The person who designed this is, kind of designed this military masterpiece. So we'll learn all about the history behind that and how important the Bly Fortress was to Bordeaux during that time. Now, today we have an extra special excursion offered at additional cost. So for those of us who are interested in cognac, we have an opportunity to visit the famous Remy Martin cognac estate and get a really nice tour and comparative tasting while we're there. So day 5 is all about Saint-Emilion. Now, Saint-Emilion really is your quintessential French village. It is absolutely lovely. It's the kind of place where you love to sit in a sidewalk cafe and enjoy, a cup of coffee and watch the people go by. We'll start the day with a city tour. We'll have a walking tour of the local church, which is just incredible. It's a church that was carved into a huge chunk of rock, and most of it's actually underground. So that's a really, really neat experience. We'll have some free time to do some shopping in the different boutiques and have lunch. And then we'll finish up the day with a tasting at a Grand Cru estate, now on the right bank of Bordeaux. Today is another day where there are also a few additional choices for an extra cost, and that would be a cooking class at one of the wine estates or a more in-depth educational experience at a wine chateau. Okay, day 6.
Okay, so day 6, we'll be visiting the Bourne. We're going to start out that day. Both of these excursions are included. We're starting out that day with a visit to the farmers market. And this is just another way of Uniworld trying to get us to immerse totally into the culture. We are going to do an excursion where we will actually feel like we are one of the locals just out doing our daily shopping. We're going to meet the different shopkeepers. They are more than happy to explain all the processes. They're so proud of everything they sell and everything they do. So of course, the cheesemakers, the French cheese has their own special way of cultivating. I won't get into all that because we want them to tell you, but this will be a fantastic day. And like any other market, you'll have the opportunity to do other shopping other than just produce, and you'll have a fantastic day. Now, this is also a day where we have an evening out. We don't have this on that many of our days, for sure. Actually, this might even be the only one, but it's an amazing, amazing experience. So this is Vincent de la Mer, and this is actually... I'm going to let Nicole explain more about the artists and the Dali and Gaudi and all that, but I need to explain to you my experience because I was privileged enough to attend an event like this in Paris last year with Nicole. So I don't know how I had no idea what to expect, but as I arrived at the event, I don't know, I think I can picture myself, I can picture a beautiful portrait or an impression artist, something of beauty inside a picture frame. And then all of a sudden I jumped into the frame with the picture, or the picture jumped out. I don't know which one it was, but imagine something beautiful being resized about 100 times, adding some fantastic funky kind of music and surrounding you, the walls, the ceilings, the floor, into this. I think you can see on the picture down below, there's there's a person standing, just to give you an idea of the proximity of the size of the artist's items that are circulating around. It's amazing. It's fantastic. There's no way to describe it. You have to be there. You have to do it. So Nicole, tell us more about this event.
And the particular digital art space that we're going to visit, the Bassin de Lumière, is actually the granddaddy original of this type of presentation. You know, there are some touring shows that you may have seen in your own city. There's one organization that's based in France, Couture Space, and the folks that produce those shows really do produce the best ones. You may or may not have seen one of their shows on tour, but in any event, the best place to see it is right there at the Bassin de Lumière. This is originally a German submarine station that was built during World War II. So they've gone from a really unpleasant historical memory and made something beautiful out of it. And as Kim said, the feeling of being in one of these exhibitions for the first time is just really indescribable. So I recommend, if you haven't been to one, you should come with us. And if you have been to one, I bet you haven't seen one quite like this. Kim and I saw this Dali and Gaudi show last year or the year before in Paris. And it is, the art is more modern and a little bit trippy for some people. The surrealist art of Dali, of course, excuse me. And to go along with this Dali art, the music soundtrack is by Pink Floyd. So it was unexpected, wild, and absolutely delightful. Highly recommended. Following this night out, we will be back in Bordeaux. And Bordeaux is not only the gold standard for French wine, it is the gold standard for French tourism and historical preservation. This town had really gone into a decay after its decline as a port. By the 1990s, it was really not doing very well. And the visionary mayor saw to it, with the cooperation of locals and national financing, public and private, to give this city a real renaissance, a rebirth. And it is now just one of the most spectacular places you can visit in France. The history is incredible. The whole urban core is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, the largest urban UNESCO World Heritage Site in the world. There are, I want to say, around 350 listed historic buildings just in this historic core alone. You have the whole essence of Frenchness, I would say, in Bordeaux. The gastronomy with the farm to table, it's surrounded by agricultural areas, not just grapes. You have the sea so close by, so you have a kind of a sea to table thing going on also. You have incredible art collections. There's a wine museum. It's just really a place to absorb the je ne sais quoi of Frenchness. You get that in Paris, of course, because Paris is the capital of France and one of the most popular destinations in the world. But Paris is a very large city. It can be noisy. Maybe there's a little pollution in a city that size. Bordeaux just takes all of that and shrinks it down to a sort of more manageable level. It's not as big as Paris, but it has all of those aspects that you feel France when you're there, and it's just a little bit more laid back than Paris. So we will have a couple of great excursions in Bordeaux. We have a bike tour. Of course, you can cover a lot of ground on a bike tour. It's a great way to see a city. And there's also a walking tour, do as the locals do. So you'll get to stop and take more pictures on your walking tour than you will on a bike tour, but you won't see quite as many kilometers of the city as you will on the bike tour, but either one would be absolutely delightful. There's also an optional masterpiece collection tour at a small additional cost, and this is to be the passenger in a motorcycle sidecar. And I would be willing to bet that nobody watching has taken a tour while being the passenger in a motorcycle sidecar. So that sounds like a ton of fun. And at the evening, we'll have our farewell dinner that night on the ship. We'll disembark the next day. If you are joining the post-cruise trip, we'll tell you about that in just a minute. Now we want to circle back and talk about both of our land extensions. The first one is a 4-night Loire Valley pre-cruise stay. This slide right here is the Chateau de Chambord. This is the largest chateau. I think there are 400 and some odd rooms. We will not be visiting all of them. We will be visiting this chateau, and let's take a little look at our itinerary. In addition to Chambord, we'll be visiting several other chateaux. The jewel box of Issy le Rideau, which you see right behind me here. We'll also be visiting Viandry, which is famous around the world for its multiple gardens, which we'll be able to visit. And we'll also visit the manor house of Clos Lucé. I believe Kira's actually been to Clos Lucé. It's got a very special connection to Leonardo da Vinci, who spent his last several years living there.
Yeah, so the French king at the time was a big fan of Da Vinci, and actually was living in Amboise at the time, and brought Leonardo to his town. And so Leonardo da Vinci spent his last years there, and that is where he actually completed the Mona Lisa. So when you visit his home of Clos Lucé, it's lovely. It's a wonderful experience, and it focuses both on his art, but also a lot on Leonardo's scientific endeavors, including an extensive garden with some full-size recreations of some of his inventions. So it is going to be a highlight of the trip, I'm sure.
I love seeing the built out models of his designs, because he was so ahead of his time.
Absolutely.
It's really fascinating to see these things come to life. So we'll also have 3 different wine visits to wine producers and chateaus. We'll visit 3 different appellations of the Loire Valley region. We will visit Chevalny, we will visit Vouvray, and we will visit Bordeaux. And we'll have the opportunity to enjoy wines of all different varieties. So the Loire Valley really has the full range of wines. If you don't like sweet wines, there's lots of dry wines. If you don't like dry wines, there's sweet wine, there's sparkling wine, red, white, rosé, single varietals, blends. The Loire Valley has everything. So it's very exciting to be able to explore both wine and architecture and history in the Loire Valley. On the last day, we will be stopping on our way to the ship. We'll be stopping in Cognac, where we will visit the Chateau de Cognac, which is the home now of the Baron Otard Cognac distillery. So we will have a tour of the distillery, tasting, of course, and we will also have a very special lunch in the King's private apartments at the chateau. So that'll be a great stop on the way to our beautiful ship. On this slide, you can see a photo of the courtyard at our absolutely charming 5-star little boutique hotel. I was only able to reserve a small number of rooms because the hotel is very small to begin with, and they won't just give up all their inventory to the same person. But I want to let you know the most important thing right now to realize is that of the rooms I was able to secure, I only have 4 left. So you do not want to delay in booking your pre-cruise experience as well as your post-cruise experience, because that too is limited, right, Carol?
It really is, Nicole. Thank you. Now, if you love wine, this is going to be a once in a lifetime experience. I have tapped my wine industry contacts to open up some doors for us that are not usually open to the public. So it's going to be a really amazing opportunity to go really in depth into the Bordeaux wine region. We are going to stay for 3 nights in a gorgeous 5-star chateau hotel and spa that is located among the vineyards. Just really beautiful. And it's located just a short drive outside of the town of Saint-Emilion. I have arranged customized experiences for us in different Grand Cru estates on both the left and the right banks. Okay, we're going to be able to taste some older vintages as well as the newer vintages and compare and contrast. We will have a lovely harvest vineyard lunch with a winemaker. And we have two really spectacular dinners planned. The first one will be at a wine estate in a chateau. And then the last one is a little bit of a secret, but we're going to have a grand finale dinner. So we will be tasting wines from, second growth, Grand Cru Classé, but also a first growth. So if this is something you may be interested in, I encourage you to contact me immediately. We can only have a maximum of 10 people on this trip. So I really hope that you will consider joining us. I think it's going to be a really amazing time. So let's talk a little bit about what exactly is included on our river cruise.
Well, I think, Carol, as we've gone through each slide, it's obvious that practically everything is included. This is what we would consider the most inclusive river cruise out on the market at the moment. Of course, we have all of our accommodations, luxury accommodations. We have all of our meals. We have beverages. We have the snacks. You can see the list here. It goes on and on and on. It's definitely everything is included. However, because we are being a unique group on this cruise, there are a few extra optional items that might be appealing and definitely would be appealing to a lot of people I know. So, but if not, you have enough to fill your day every single day. There's excursions, there's options, there's choices. We mentioned bicycles. Maybe you want to see the country through another window, the window of a bicycle. So absolutely anything that you might want to do is included.
Okay, well, so we're going to go through some of the questions that you might have about this cruise. And I'm going to post the questions and some of my lovely colleagues are going to answer. So the first thing is really, what if I or my companion don't like wine or don't like French wine? Or what if we don't know much about wine? Is this still something that we will enjoy?
Well, first, for those of you who like wine, but you say you don't like French wine, I am going to challenge you a little bit on that because Bordeaux is similar to the Loire Valley in that it actually has a lot more than just red wine. We think of Bordeaux, we think of red wine, but Bordeaux has white wines, it has sweet wines, it has sparkling wines, it has rosé wines. So there really is a little bit of something for everybody. And I do believe that when you are on the cruise sampling the different types of wines, you will find something that you enjoy. If for some reason you don't, there are always other options for wines on board. We have cocktails and premium spirits and beers. And for those of us who maybe don't enjoy drinking alcoholic beverages at all, that is absolutely no problem. I hope that you were able to see in this presentation just how many other options there are that have nothing to do with wine. You know, I love wine, but even I don't want to do wine 24/7, right? We're in France. We want to experience, the history, the food, the culture, beyond just the wine. So there really is something for everybody. And for those of you who don't know a lot about wine, this is really the perfect opportunity to learn more. So we are going to be doing some special seminars on board just for our group, where we can learn a little bit more about wine tasting in general, kind of a wine tasting 101, as well as learn a little bit more about the Bordeaux region.
Yeah, I agree. There really is something for everyone, whether you're a wine lover or not, because it's such an area of history and culture and art and food. All right. Well, what about on a river cruise? I avoid cruising because of motion sickness. Is motion sickness an issue on a river cruise?
Absolutely not. I guess, if you had a hurricane, you might feel it, but generally speaking, no. And I am a person who gets motion sick very easily. I have also avoided ocean cruises for that reason. I got sick on a whale watching cruise one time and spent half the cruise lying down, even though I was medicated. So on the river cruise, I was amazed on my first river cruise a few years ago at how smooth everything was. I literally could not tell when the ship was moving unless I was looking out the window. It's that calm. the ship could have started sailing. You might be in your room writing some postcards or getting ready for dinner, and you know that the ship was supposed to start sailing at 6 or whatever. And like, you think, gosh, did we leave the port? And if your curtains are closed, because if you're getting dressed, you might have your curtains closed. You don't know that you're moving. You literally have to open your curtains and look at something on the shore to see that you're moving. So if you're motion sick, don't even think about worrying about this for a river cruise.
Oh, that's great. So what if I don't want to follow a strict schedule, or if I don't know if I like traveling with a group, or I don't think of myself as a cruise person? Is this something that would still be something that I might enjoy?
Absolutely, you'll enjoy it. First of all, following a schedule, we've already shown you all of the options that are included, all the daily trips that you can do, but you're not forced to do them. These are just available to you and included. If you decide maybe you don't want to do a tour one day, you just want to get out and maybe do some leisurely walking around the area, some shopping, just scope out, take some pictures, or maybe you just want to you don't want to do the actual bicycle tour with the guide, but later in the afternoon, you'd like to take the bicycle out for an hour. Those are things that you can do. You do not have to follow the schedule in any way, shape, or form. I remember it was a beautiful day and I thought, I think this morning I would just like to sit on the sun deck, relax, read a book, and spend a couple hours doing that, and maybe go out later on in the afternoon. So these are all individual choices. The only difference is there are things that are included should you decide to do them. So your strict schedule is not an issue. Traveling with a group, I get that all the time being a group specialist, but I need to tell you, traveling with a group does not mean you're joined together at the hip. You might be in this group, and prior to us connecting with our private events, you may not know a single person in that group, and that's okay. The whole idea behind doing a group is, if you would like to connect with like-minded people, we are there, we are available, we can join together in the evening, discuss our daily events. But if you want to do things totally on your own, that's okay too, because you are not obliged in any way, shape, or form to be connected with the group, other than to take advantage of all the fantastic perks that are coming with our group especially. And if you're not a cruise person, I really want to challenge you on that, because do you like not doing laundry? Do you like just throwing your towel wherever you want to throw it? Do you like leaving the room and not making your bed sometimes? Do you like not doing laundry? Do you like not doing dishes? Do you like being catered to? Do you like having someone pamper you? Because if you don't like these things, maybe a cruise is not for you. But if there is any portion of this that you like in the pampering lifestyle, I'm telling you right now, the cruise is the way to go. Unpack once and just enjoy your vacation.
That's great.
And also, as I was mentioning at the top, being on the river cruise, for people who are not into ocean cruises, being on a river cruise is the perfect combination of cruise and land, because you're right in the river, you're right in the destinations. Frequently, you can walk right off the ship into town. Mm-hmm. And it's like a floating boutique hotel. So you get to have the same experience as you would have on a land trip, with all of those deluxe perks that Kim was talking about of being on a cruise, all of that service.
Exactly, Nicole. And one other thing I'd like to add, if you've never done a river cruise, I love cruising, it doesn't matter what, but the big ocean cruises, they will take you to a country. So you have to visualize a river cruise is actually taking you through the country, docking in the center of town. Very different experience.
Awesome. Yeah. So does it anything about the weather? What will the weather be like in that part of France in October?
It'll be, crisp fall weather. You're probably going to need, a little jacket or something like that at that time of year. It should be very pleasant, because at that time of the year, you don't have to worry that we're going to have one of those crazy historical heat waves. And it's not going to be that cold. So it's actually spring and fall to me are my favorite times to be in France.
And finally, the laundry facilities. What is the possibility of doing laundry while you're on the ship?
It's free.
Oh, isn't it? Laundry is included. That's awesome. All right, great.
That means you can pack light.
Best way to pack.
So the question is, why travel with us? You can go online and book a river cruise right now. You don't need us, right? Well, when you travel with us, you are getting a lot of perks beyond what the cruise line is offering you. And one of those perks is exclusive experiences. So we have put together some really great wine tastings and seminars on board that's just for us, as well as an incredible celebration dinner event. This is where we are going to have a gourmet dinner where we're going to pair each course with a different wine. And these are special wines that I'm going to select and bring on board that will be just for us. So, you know, Kim talked a little bit about being in a group and kind of being able to do your own thing and also enjoying the camaraderie. So that's what we're trying to give to you here, is really the best of both worlds.
And I want to just mention also that the other reason you want to come with us, the groups on the ship will be, I want to say, a floating size, because I think we will mix and mingle. The pre and post are definitely small groups. And we are able to offer you these experiences with our combined power, giving you a really nice discount on the price. We have a $550 discount off of your cruise fare, which, you know, if you went to, you can't just go and book this yourself on Uniworld at this price. In addition to that, you're getting all the special perks that Carol described. You're getting $150 per person on board credit, which is amazing. You could get a spa treatment for that, or, you know, have a lot of really fancy drinks, or you could use that toward one of those special masterpiece excursions. And I want to say one other thing you will get on this cruise with us. Of course, our cruise manager will speak French because we're on a cruise in France. But also your trusty travel advisor escort, well, si je parle français. And before the trip, we're going to have a little Zoom French class for our group before the trip, where I'll teach you some basic French phrases that you might want to have in your back pocket for the trip. So you can't just get that from Uniworld either. You get that by coming with us.
Absolutely.
This is the deck plan of the ship, and we already have some bookings for the ship. And so far, all of the bookings I have are for balcony cabins. I think the same is true for anyone else so far. Those balcony cabins sell out first. As you're looking at this deck plan, the turquoise cabins on the top deck are the French balcony cabins. When last I checked, there were around 10 of those left. So if you want a French balcony cabin, if you want to go on the Loire Valley pre-cruise experience, if you want the VIP Bordeaux post-cruise experience, those things are all limited in quantity. So I would say the sooner you are able to make a decision and place your deposit, the better, or you may be left with a perfectly lovely cabin with a big picture window, but no balcony. This is our pricing for the trip. I just want to also mention that there's a special, we have a limited number of solo cabins available at a special price. And normally the solo supplement is 50%. However, in our case, the solo supplement basically works out to be about 25%, because we have half price on that 50% supplement. I just booked my own solo cabin recently, and it was a little over $4,000. So it was a nice surprise. I was thinking it would be more. So if you're a solo traveler, you're really looking at not that much more for having that cabin all to yourself, if you prefer to have your own space when you travel.
And I just want to point out, I think this was mentioned earlier, but that gratuities are included in that price. So there will not be a lot of surprises at the end in terms of extra charges.
Those are the onboard gratuities. So you may want to,
that's correct.
you know, for your local tour guide, you will want to have some some small euros cash for your local tour guides. But yes, all of the gratuities on the ship are included in this price, which is fantastic.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point because you don't have to worry about being nickeled and dimed when you get on the cruise. You don't have to worry about a surprise bill at the end. All of those extras are included, and that includes all the extras that we are providing you as well.
Exactly. And as Nicole mentioned, should you wish to not do a spa, but you want to do the sidecar, you have that 150 per person to jump on the side of a motorcycle and tour Bordeaux.
Absolutely. Great. Well, any final thoughts that you would like to share before we finish up?
Just mention again, if there's more in-depth information that you'd like about any of the ports or any of the pre and the post cruise, with more details, we do have another presentation that we'd be happy to send you that is longer and goes into more details on each of the options.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you all so much for joining us today. We hope that we will see you in Bordeaux in October.
Vive la France!
Thank you.
Au revoir.